Welcome all to the Williston Development Review Board of August 27th, 2024. My name is Pete Kelly. I'm chair of the DRB. Please silence your phones and devices. Zoom attendees, please stay muted unless it's your turn to speak. For Zoom technical questions, contact planning staff through Zoom chat. Let's begin by taking a roll call of DRB members in attendance this evening. Nate Andrews.
Here.
Paul Christensen.
Present.
Lisa Braden Harder.
Here.
Scott Riley. He's absent. Dave Turner. And chair is present, so 5 in attendance. We do have a quorum. For tonight, we've got 2 items on the agenda. In the public hearing, public hearing section, we've got DP 24-17, Scott Allaire. That is a proposed duplex on a 0.55 acre lot at 3157 St. George Road. And then we've got a memo DP 23-08 and DP 23-08.1, which is a request for deadline extension. The Development Review Board follows rules of procedure and conducts quasi-judicial proceedings, aka public hearings like court, pursuant to Williston Unified Development Bylaw, WDB, Chapter 6 in Appendix A. The powers of the DRB are established in and limited by this bylaw, as well as state statute, and expounded upon by the staff reports for each public hearing application. As volunteer public officials, we are held to the standards of the Williston Volunteer Policy and the Williston Conflict of Interest Ordinance. Any public hearing tonight, for the public hearings tonight, first question, does any member wish to be excused on account of conflict of interest? Hearing none. Second question. Does any member wish to report ex parte contact? Hearing none. So now we're going to segue into agenda item number 1. This is the public forum. This is an opportunity for members of the public to address the DRB on any issues not on tonight's agenda. Any members of the public like to address the board? Staff, no raised hands?
No chats, no raised hands.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll segue into agenda item number 2. It's the public hearing. First up is DP 24-17. Is the applicant present?
They are.
Okay, good evening. If you would state your name and address for the record, please.
Brian Courier, Allaire Civil Associates, Corporate Drive. Scott Allaire, 3173.
Okay, staff goes next. Emily?
Thank you, Pete. This is a request for a discretionary permit to seek an average setback exemption and develop a duplex. The property is Lot 1 and 3173 St. George Road. Lot 1 is the vacant lot where the duplex is proposed, and Lot 2 has that existing dwelling. This property is located in the agricultural rural residential zoning district. Due to the type of development, it was not subject to design review or Conservation Commission review. DRB members in person, I passed out an updated version of this staff report. I also provided the applicant a version of this staff report. Since the mail out on Thursday, we did receive the Department of Public Works comments. And yesterday I received stream photos from the engineer Brian Courier. And therefore, my recommendation tonight would be to hold the public hearing and close and a lot of these issues that I'll discuss in the staff report can be handled adequately at final plans. In my staff report, I recommended continuing to the 24th. Because we got those comment memos from Public Works, and based on the information I have about the stream, I feel confident that all of these things can be resolved with conditions of approval for final plans. Project history, this went through pre-application review in April of this year. This is the the following discretionary permit. Public Works, Fire, and Police comments were received as part of this application. The fire department comments and the condition have their basic limitation that the plan review policy is a policy and not an ordinance, and can only be enforced to the extent that it can be by our Williston Unified Development Bylaw. No comment letters were received at the time of mail out from the public, nor up until this evening. What follows is a summary of the pre-application recommendations and the ways in which the applicant has addressed them at pre-application. Some items are not applicable because it's a one or two family dwelling versus a triplex in terms of lighting plan. And then some comments about Public Works were received. For the agricultural rural residential zoning district, they are seeking an average setback exemption. Typically, it would be 50 feet from Hurricane Lane, and the bylaw would allow for a setback of 30 feet based on the setback across the street for the hotel. So this was a DRB recommendation at pre-application that they could move forward with the 30-foot setback, and that's shown on the site plan. In terms of affordable homes and growth management, it complies. This project was able to proceed from pre-app to discretionary permit. For access, there are two conditions that are proposed. The DRB and applicant should discuss the driveway width. Condition of approval 18 requires the driveway to be reduced to 14 feet. So basically, our bylaw allows driveways serving more than one dwelling to be anywhere from 12 to 16 feet in width. The fire department prefers 14. The applicant is showing 20. And then Chapter 29 of our bylaw allows driveways to cross watershed and wetland buffers, however, crossing them to the minimum extent possible. So the driveway could be 12 to 16 feet. It needs to go from 20 down. We're recommending 14. However, the DRB could consider more than that with the applicant. In terms of bicycle and pedestrian access, condition of approval number 19 requires a 15-foot multi-use path easement where a 10-foot sidewalk easement is shown. And this easement should extend along the entirety of lots 1 and 2 where they abut Route 2A. This was discussed with the DRB at pre-application, and it was determined that an easement as opposed to constructing the path would be preferred here. Off-street parking and loading complies as proposed. There's a specific condition for on-site infrastructure that they show underground utilities for electrical and telecommunications. Maintenance, a condition is included that final plans identify solid waste storage in compliance with Chapter 16, basically that they be stored on a paved surface. In terms of density, there is a specific condition. So this property is in the agricultural rural residential zoning district, but it is in the sewer service area where it's able to have a density of up to 5 dwellings per acre. The DRB may recall seeing a triplex at pre-application. Since then, we've become aware of this waterway and watershed buffer that reduced the density analysis. So the maximum number of units is 3. They're proposing 3. And because these two lots 1 and 2, are being calculated together for the density analysis, that needs to be recognized in the deed, that they're intertwined for density. Just as a new subdivision, you would create 2 new lots, 2 new deeds, and they would reflect this site plan. This density calculation would need to be reflected for lots 1 and 2. Landscaping, standard complies as proposed. Originally at pre-app, we discussed the landscape buffer going to the south of 3173 St. George Road. They're showing it between the two. Either option is permitted, and we're recommending that this landscape plan be accepted. Street trees also complies as proposed. There are existing trees along Route 2A. The trees along Hurricane Lane are proposed to be removed to improve sight lines, and then new trees are going to be planted in accordance with the spacing requirements, 40 feet. They'll also be set back a little bit. Watershed health, this is the other area for the DRB to discuss. The map stream doesn't appear to line up with the mapped contours or the site plan. So at final plans, the erosion and runoff control plan will need to be updated to show that precise location and then adjust any landscaping and erosion control, or excuse me, not landscaping, any erosion control fencing to comply with that. Also, our bylaw requires that watershed buffers be demarcated. Typically, this is a fence or boulders, but the DRB and applicant could discuss if the change in terrain is sufficient. So the site plan shows grading up on the side of the driveway. The DRB could discuss if that's adequate or if fencing and boulders should be shown at final plans. And what follows is a couple of screenshot excerpts of the contours, the site plan, and the erosion control plan. The erosion control plan, as it stands now, basically has that silt fence going right on that mapped stream, but we know that that mapped stream is farther back. And now on the screen, not in your packets, I'm showing the stream image. It's basically a ditch. It's a little intermittent culvert. In these photos, it doesn't have any running water in it. So I think this is something that can be handled at final plans. What follows are findings of fact, conclusions of law, and conditions of approval, including the conditions in bold that are added specifically for this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. So Scott and Brian, I'd like you to supplement Emily's staff report and also speak to if you're in agreement with the proposed conditions of approval 1 through 21.
Thanks, Pete. Respond to some of the questions raised by staff. The access category, we're okay with the 14-foot reduction we're showing 20. So it's a rear-loaded duplex. The garages will be facing east, away from 2A. So it'll be 14 feet wide as perpendicular to Hurricane Lane, but obviously when it swings 90 degrees and loads the garages, it'll be wider than that. So, but where it'll be perpendicular to Hurricane Lane, 14 feet's fine. We're okay with the easements as proposed. The solid waste conditions, I looked up bylaw section 16.7. Is that more for like dumpster enclosures? These will likely be like trash stored in your garage and then you roll it out to the curb and Myers or Gazelle or whoever pick it up.
Yep, the way it's worded, it is geared more towards, larger buildings with a larger dumpster. I think
Right.
just showing them next to the garage on
Okay.
the pavement rather than off to the side.
Okay.
Would comply.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay, so we're good with that. And then regarding the stream mapping, so there's the stream actually is associated with an overlay district that the town has, and that's in a shapefile format from VCGI, so it's spatially referenced. So we just took that stream mapping in the overlay district and put it on our plan. So we didn't actually shoot the center line of the stream, which is what Emily's alluding to, and it doesn't follow the contours. We've run into this issue plenty of times in the past. It doesn't follow the center line of the stream. It's meant to be approximate. So the stream is on the eastern side of the site. It essentially follows the tree line. I think our limited disturbance will be somewhere within 30 feet of that channel, let's call it. But we have no problem showing that on a final plan. And regarding conditions of approval, it seems like we're all set with the solid waste portion, and that was the only one I had, Pete.
Okay, great. What about demarcation of
Yeah.
the setback?
Yep. So there's so this is in regard to the stream setback. So there's already exists some pretty large boulders on site, and Scott is okay demarcating that buffer at the limited disturbance where we're gonna cut in the driveway.
Yep, great.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you. Anything else?
Nope.
DRB members, questions?
The mature trees along Hurricane Lane, are you gonna take them all out except for one?
Generally, yes. Looking at site distances, they're large. I think they're spruce trees, but definitely evergreen dense. So in order to create an acceptable sight line toward the intersection, most of those trees will have to go.
All right, I was checking it out and I was like, oh, I wonder if they can just limb up those trees 6 or 8 feet
Yeah,
for the sight line.
We could just limb them up. I think they'll look odd given how dense it is. You know, just to have the top of them kind of bushy. They're pretty big.
Yeah, I saw they were pretty
spruce
good
trees,
size.
so we thought it'd look nicer to
Take 'em
place
out?
them and move them back further.
Okay.
Other questions?
Stream? You're kidding, right?
No.
I've made bigger streams than that draining my hay fields.
Yep. So it's and this is something we wrestled with, but there's no provision in the bylaw for us to define the stream any other way than the overlay district does. So in order to relocate or move or get rid of the overlay district, essentially we would be looking at changing your zoning map, which for a small project like this
Oh my
isn't
gosh.
something we want to overcome. So, we talked about defining a stream based on square miles of drainage area, which is common practice, but unfortunately, because it's echoed in a zoning overlay district, our hands are a little tied for
Jeez.
what we're allowed to do. So,
Okay.
yep.
That's crazy to call that a stream.
Yep. It is what it is, so.
Other questions from the DRB?
Yeah, along 2A, the landscaping that it is existing and what is proposed, are they different species? I'm not real familiar with what's there at the moment. Is it a spruce that's there now? Or,
Along Hurricane Lane?
no, along St. George Road.
I think they were maples, weren't they?
Is the landscaping that'll be there, will it screen the building? Or, I mean, like, the black tupelos are fairly small trees, right?
Those are pretty. They're pretty. Only
But they're-
15 to 20
Yeah,
feet high.
The two evergreens are proposed to stay.
Okay.
And then we're proposing a street tree on the corner set back from the intersection, and then there's quite a bit of communications underground on that corner too. And then we're proposing an oak tree on the corner as well.
Is that the one that's on the existing driveway? What,
No, the one on the existing driveway we're showing as a,
Tupelo?
yeah. Yep, the same as the street trees along Hurricane Lane.
And as part of that plan, I'm sure you'll have to, with the demarcation of the right-of-way and everything and planting these trees, I guess you'll be doing it regardless, but that existing driveway, I don't know if it's gravel or what, will be gone and
Correct, yeah.
grass.
Yeah, so that's actually not before Scott owned the property, but it's an illegal driveway. V-Trans submitted a letter to Emily at pre-app that basically noted it as such. So before Scott bought the property, but even though they paved a apron on it when they redid 2A, that's I thought it was legal.
And if the exemption to the setback was not passed, did you also have a plan that plays within the current setback of 50 feet?
We haven't considered that. We started with a triplex and we're down to a duplex. I think 50 feet on a public road there is pretty substantial. 50 feet is the setback from 2A to
Yep.
say that should be consistent with Hurricane Lane, a minor local street. I think the setback reduction makes sense in this space, but no, we haven't considered a footprint that's 20 feet narrow. Likely we'd be into the single family realm.
Right. Okay.
I don't think the people in the hotel will care.
No.
It's a little strange because it's served by water and sewer, right, but it's in the ag rural district.
Yeah.
Some of the zoning criteria don't necessarily match up with the Homes Act that wants 5 units an acre in these spots. So 50-foot setbacks you'd never have in your RZD district or something like that, where you want that density is encouraged. in
Yep.
the Sewer district, but kind of this odd place in town where there's municipal sewer from long ago, but it's still mapped ARZD because it's out there.
Yep. And everybody's happy you're moving the driveway, especially the police, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
Okay, other questions from the DRB?
I think we're good.
Okay, hearing none. Members of the audience, any questions?
No in-person audience.
Okay. And is there anybody participating by Zoom other than me?
Yes, but there are no.
I didn't hear that.
There is someone on Zoom. If you would like to comment, you can press the raise hand button or unmute yourself.
Okay. Last call for comments or questions. DRB members, applicant.
We're all set.
Okay. All right. It's 7:21. I'm going to close DP 24-17. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
We're going,
See you
guys.
later.
Thanks, guys.
I want to name that string.
Okay.
It's in ditch.
Next up is the communication, the request for an extension, which staff member is taking this one?
Yep, Pete, so this is a request for a deadline extension. This is the Berlin City Kia renovation and addition application, as well as the master sign plan. Staff was able to give a 6-month extension. The next 6-month extension can only be granted by the DRB per the provisions of WDB 6.7.3. So this extension would give them until February 2025 to file their final plans.
Okay. Very good. DRB members, any comments or concerns on granting an extension?
Just a question. How often have we done that? Just out of curiosity.
Very rarely. In fact, I think this is the only time you've done it in like several years. Most applicants, they have 1 year from the date of their discretionary permit to file final plans. Most applicants do it in that time frame, and then staff can do a 6-month extension. This is very rare for the DRB to do this extension.
Did they give a reason why they needed it? Just out of curiosity.
No, they did not.
Okay.
Paul, do you have a concern?
No, I was just kind of curious because I know that they've done administrative extensions, which I understood, but I mean, like she says, this is like very rare for it to get to us. So I was kind of going like, seems like they're dragging their feet for some reason. I don't know why.
Well, we also reached out to them earlier this summer to say that they were coming up on their deadline.
Yeah, which is nice.
So, which I don't know if that is protocol, but maybe that was, instead of letting it expire, they realized that they could extend it.
Oh, okay. So I got you. So instead of them marching back through and starting all the paperwork, I got you. Okay.
Yep.
How much money does that save them?
A lot.
DRB members, any other questions or commentary on this?
Nah,
No, I'm good.
we're good.
Okay. Okay. Very good. It's 7:25. The DRB will now go into deliberative session. It's 7:32 to the Williston Development Review Board of August 27th, 2024. We're out of deliberative session. Is there a motion for DP 24-17?
Yes, as authorized by WDB 6.6.3, I, Nathan Andrews, move that the Williston Development Review Board, having reviewed the application submitted and all accompanying materials, including the recommendations of the town staff and the advisory boards required to comment on this application by the Williston Development Bylaw, and having heard and duly considered the testimony presented at the public hearing of August 27th, 2024, accept the findings of fact and conclusions of law for DP 24-17 and approve this discretionary permit subject to the conditions of approval above. This approval authorizes the applicant to file final plans, obtain approval of these plans from staff, and then seek an administrative permit for the proposed development, which must proceed in strict conformance with the plans on which the approval is based. We're adding one condition, that final plans shall accurately reflect the unnamed stream location and demarcate the buffer with a line of boulders.
Thank you, Nate. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Dave Turner seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Yay or nay? Nate.
Yay.
Paul.
Yay.
Lisa.
Yay.
Dave.
Yay.
The chair is a yay. 5 in favor, none opposed. Motion carries. Next up for us to vote on is the extension request for DP 23-08 and DP 23-08.1. Indicate yay if you are in agreement with granting an extension. Nate,
Yay.
Paul,
Yay.
Lisa,
Yay.
Dave.
Yay.
The chair is a yay. 5 in favor, none opposed. The extension is granted. Next up is the meeting minutes from August 13th, 2024. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Yes.
Paul has made a motion to approve the minutes as written. Is there a second?
Second.
Lisa seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none. Indicate yay if you are in favor of approving the minutes as written. Nate?
Yay.
Paul?
Yay.
Lisa?
Yay.
Dave?
Yay.
The chair is a yay. 5 in favor, none opposed. The meeting minutes are approved. Okay. Is there anything else to talk about tonight?
Yes, I think we should bring up an appointment of a vice chair in case you are sick.
Well, there is a vice chair.
Who is it?
That's Scott Riley.
We approve that?
Yeah.
Yes.
I must have been asleep on that meeting. Okay, never mind.
Yes, Scott is the vice chair. He's not in town this week.
Maybe that's why.
Which actually does bring up an interesting point. Say tonight I was unable to participate. What would happen, Emily?
I think whoever was willing would be the interim chair for the evening.
I nominate Dave Turner to be the president pro tem.
Perfect.
Thanks.
All right. Well, let's hope we don't get there.
Yeah.
Going, please don't.
Not because I don't have full faith that Dave could do it. It's just that that would mean that a couple people were sick. That's where I was going with that.
May not end up with quorum anyways.
Agreed.
I don't think, yeah. Emily, to the quorum discussion, how is the recruiting of the open seat going?
Yeah, that's good.
I don't know if it's going well. Typically, when people are interested, they reach out to Eric and Aaron, and then they forward them to us to have a conversation. So it's still posted. I'm not sure if any applications have been received or where they're at. So if you know of anybody, they could still apply. We have been advertising it as 2 seats, a regular and an alternate, and really been promoting on the advertisement that the alternate can participate in all hearings and they can vote anytime someone's absent or there's a recusal, which is most meetings. So there could be a full suite of 8 people if there's an alternate.
But that hasn't been posted on Front Porch Forum.
There's a lot of other volunteer vacancies that are handled through the manager's office. So any questions and concerns about how that is being done is a question for the town manager's office.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.